Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cropper here. The question is, why is the unmoved mover impossible? What makes the unmoved mover impossible? Aristotle posited the unmoved mover, some people say, because he wanted to save himself from Macedonian hemlock. I got that from Will Durant's Story of Philosophy, and I believe the accusation is general. The fact that things are moving, according to Aristotle's statement that we need an unmoved mover, the fact that things are moving means that someone had to start them for it. It is impossible to posit an intellectual infinity, a regress going back infinitely, to say things have been moving always and forever. Therefore, since that's not possible for them to have always been moving, we have to therefore posit someone to have started it. That right there is, if you get to that point where Aristotle's positing that, you can stop right there and say, oh, what he's saying here is things have always been in motion. And I'm going to slip in the idea of a God right here on this supposition, which now has been accepted as an absolute fact that there has to be some place where things start. It couldn't have all been there forever. Now, what does forever mean? It means time. And where does time exist? Time exists where things are, where stuff is. That means time's always existed as long as there was anything. The one thing that we cannot posit, then, I think Aristotle would probably agree if he weren't subject to the Athenian Council of 400, the one thing we cannot posit is that there was a beginning. There could not have been a beginning. There must always have been. For example, if the unmoved mover is there, because we have to have him to start things off, who put him there? As my philosophy professor said in my first year of college, he said, what, another unmoved mover with a bigger tractor? And then who put him there? A bigger tractor? And then... So you're in an infinite regress if you try to start things. And I think that Aristotle would agree. I don't know for sure, but, it's just everything that Aristotle ever, any reason he ever gave for anything, any explanation he ever gave was very subtle. So, just because it's a good explanation, he was a genius. Anything he explains is quite well explained, even if he's completely wrong. So, it's been said no one's made more errors than Aristotle, because no one wrote on as many things as Aristotle did. But he most likely posited the unmoved mover to save himself from Macedonian hemlock, like Socrates, because Socrates, of course, was put to death for questioning religion, questioning the gods, for corrupting the youth. And Aristotle didn't want to mess around with that. He wanted to live happily in Athens, the best city on the planet. And the unmoved mover is not only ridiculous, it's impossible, because who created the unmoved mover? You're in an infinite regress no matter what. So let's start the infinite regress off with existence. And let's say the existence was there, and whether the existence's name be the unmoved mover who started things, well, wait a minute. So wait, we can't do that. So existence was there. Existence has always been there. That's where you have to start. And I think Aristotle would agree, just by the reductio ad absurdum. He says we can't have an infinite regress of explanation. We can't go back and say that there was an effect, an effect, and an effect from a cause, from a cause, from an effect, from a cause, from an effect, from a cause, somewhere it started. But actually, cause and effect are a phenomenon that are only identifiable inside reality. So if you've ever been able to say there was a cause or an effect, you've already assumed reality. So we have to, first of all, say something existed. Things exist. That is the first assumption. And Aristotle has to make that too, because he assumes the existence of either the universe or an unmoved mover to start the universe in motion. So he also assumes existence. Actually, the unmoved mover is just a way to sneak God in a very subtle way that's very difficult for people to point out what's wrong with it. A very elegant, very poetic. The thing I like most about the unmoved mover, read Will Durant's Story of Philosophy, because at the end of it he says, such is Aristotle's God. And here is Aristotle's God. He's perfect. He only wants to think about perfect things. Change is imperfect, so he doesn't want to think about change. He is the most perfect thing, Therefore, he spends all of eternity thinking about himself. He started the universe moving, and then he sits and thinks about himself. That is Aristotle's God. You know, compare that to just about any other God that you find anywhere. And Aristotle's God is a total metaphysical deadweight. It doesn't do anything. It started the universe in motion. We don't need gods after that. The unmoved mover is the God, started everything in motion, and here we are. That's Aristotle's story. Plus, if he's going to assume the existence of an unmoved mover as causing things, a will, if he's going to anthropomorphize willpower onto the universe's existence, he's also got to say that that unmoved mover existed, so he posits existence. I don't think it's too much to say that the unmoved mover is not only obviously impossible, but was not even seriously intended by Aristotle.